There has been a lot of confusion over the CRIS program and what it is and what it means and who can do it and what, very, very complicated for someone who hears it for the first time. Still a little foggy on the second time, and maybe by the third time you heard what CRIS is about, you actually understand what it is. If you don't, I have a little flow chart actually set up, and it's basically, yes, you can go to the next step, or no, go back and start over again. So it really helps you break down, okay, if I don't have this, I can't do CRIS. If I don't have this, I can't do CRIS. It really helps break it down. If you're interested in a copy, we have a copy that will have available at the chamber office. So it can help you understand a little bit more about what the CRIS program is and who qualifies and what you have to do to actually get into that program and utilize its full benefits. But I'd like to introduce someone to help, for those who may not be familiar, or you're like at stage 2 or stage 3 and still haven't totally got the CRIS picture. I would like to introduce someone very special, State Senator Dave Arnold. It's all yours.
If you have any complicated questions about the CRIS in my office, we have one very easy rule. Call Micah, all right? Just get that out of the way right away, all right? I want to thank you for the invitation to join you all here tonight. Share some insights. You know, this was a 2-year battle to get this done. This is the first, Jim knows, we all have the scars to prove it. And first in history award of a city revitalization and improvement zone, pilot zone, imagine why we call it the CRIS, to any small community in Pennsylvania, the borough of Tamaqua. The opportunity was available for any borough or township over 7,000 in population. We calculated today that meant there were 349 eligible to apply, but only Tamaqua was successful. And so if you remember one thing about the CRIS program, remember this, that several of my colleagues and I in the House, in the Senate, encouraged many different municipalities to apply. Only Tamaqua successfully navigated its way through what turned out to be a difficult and time-consuming 2-year process. 1 out of 349, we calculated today, you have a better chance of winning the lottery, okay? And so when CHAMP and DCD were working with the borough on this unique opportunity, we calculated that early on there were only 2 other CRISs in all of Pennsylvania. The city of Lancaster, the city of Bethlehem. The city of Allentown has been awarded a similar program known as a Neighborhood Improvement Zone, a NIZ, which is really where the idea was born. And if any of you have any questions about the difference between a CRIS and NIZ, you know who to ask? Micah. Okay, just once again, we got that out of the way. There is really one primary reason for the success of Tamaqua's application. The stubborn determination and vision of each member of a borough council, especially President Gursky, borough manager Kevin Steigerwald, the Tamaqua Borough Authority, many of the borough's employees. This would not have happened without their hard work. Again, 1 out of 349. Think about that. I think that this may be one of the best things to happen to Tamaqua since Burkhart Moser built that sawmill more than 200 years ago. And now it is our opportunity to show what a small town can do when its residents, its businesses, its developers, and its elected officials all can work together to maximize the potential of this program. I think there are 3 reasons why DCED finally made this award. 1, they knew that Tamaqua needed a shot in the arm. I mean, any of you know what year anthracite coal hit its production peak in Pennsylvania? 1917, okay? My grandfather's would have been 10. And so when we talk about the slow, agonizing decline of some of the major industries in Pennsylvania, it wasn't just Tamaqua. There were communities like Tamaqua all over Pennsylvania that really, really needed some help. But again, why us? There were so many other eligible communities, but DCD knew two key facts. One, they were one of the few communities willing to spend 2 years on an application procedure when it often seemed as though the odds were stacked against us. And secondly, I think that very important, the people who review the applications at DCD know that they have seen the people in Tamaqua work together really over the last 20 years to make good things happen again and again and again. And I believe that's why they were willing to take a chance on Tamaqua. Just think about it. Who transformed a long vacant and very deteriorated train station at our busiest intersection? You all did. The leaders of the Save Our Station group, people in this region turned that symbol of blight into a symbol of community pride. Looking at the county tourism brochure, I can guarantee you they would not have been bragging about the Tamaqua train station 20 years ago when they started these brochures. Who transformed the old junior high school into a brand new community college where literally people's lives can be transformed with a better education? You all did. The Morgan Foundation, the Scheller family, the school board, the people of the region, you did that. Who transformed dozens of, let's be honest, deteriorated storefronts on Broad and Center and some of the other major streets into revitalized locations for some real jobs? Well, you did. The Main Street program, the Chamber, the Historical Architectural Review Commission, led by Linda Ulenav and Janelle Friedenberger, and a host of community volunteers. You did that. Here's one near and dear to our heart. Who helped to turn an almost abandoned industrial park in hometown into a park that's now almost 100% full, more than 500 jobs? You did. The Tide volunteers, Frank and the professionals at SEDCO, the elected officials in Rush Township, the school board, who really were willing to take some risks, along with several local business entrepreneurs. You did that. You made the community proud again despite all of the many obstacles placed in our path. You did it again and again and again, and I think that's why DCD was willing to give us an opportunity as the only one of 349 communities across hundreds of miles in Pennsylvania to prove to the people of Pennsylvania that a CRIS can work in a small town, not just any small town, but one that is willing to work together as a team. We're celebrating this CRIS tonight because more than 20 years ago, the community partnership gathered many of us together in a room to develop some realistic goals for our common future. And now that we're the only small town in Pennsylvania that has this CRIS tool in our toolbox, we want to move very quickly for further jobs and development. We believe that CRIS will allow Tamaqua to finance a significant number of redevelopment projects, including rehabilitating vacant or underutilized spaces, to strengthen the local economy, and to provide some new opportunities and create some new jobs. Now, those of you who know me well have heard me talk about the fact before that revitalization isn't just a big city thing. It's also a small community thing. That's why I amended the CRIS legislation into the Senate to allow for a pilot zone application late last year. Now, we're still trying to figure out exactly what this all means, but just remember this. In Allentown, we're going to hear more about this in a minute, when the CRIS concept was born in the CPA tax attorney brain of my friend and colleague, Senator Pat Brown, their NIS has seen almost $1 billion, that's a B, $1 billion in new investment in just a few years. Now, I know Allentown is a whole lot bigger than Tamaqua. And I know, again, that a NIS isn't exactly the same thing as a CRIS. Ask Micah for the details. But it's really, think about this. If we get 1% of $1 billion, do the math, that's $10 million. That's 10 train station projects. So if we can get 2% or 5% or 10%, the honest answer is we can't predict yet, and the experts in DCD do not know exactly how many new jobs or how much new investment is going to come. But DCD has seen that when this community decides to set a goal, it delivers. And again, that's why we're celebrating tonight. And it's not just good for the borough, it's good for the entire region. First, I need to thank my Chief of Staff, Christine Verdier, and the entire staff in the district at the Capitol. You know, I knew what I wanted to do, but they were the ones working with the governor's office, working with the lawyers at DCD to draft the legislative language again and again and again until we finally got it right. We wouldn't be celebrating tonight without their hard work. But I also need to note that the CRIS legislation cleared the Senate with very little controversy. Governor Corbett had indicated that he was willing to sign it, but it encountered, is a buzzsaw of controversy the right term, Representative Knowles? It came this close to dying in the House. And had that happened at the end of the session, we would have had to start from scratch with a whole new Senate and a whole new House and a whole new governor, and a very, very good chance that no community would ever see a CRIS pilot, not just Tamaqua. One person saved this legislation in the House, and that's Jerry Knowles. We could not have done this without his leadership and his own stubborn and unique brand of perseverance. Did I say that diplomatically, Jerry? Stubborn and unique perseverance. Thank you, Jerry. You couldn't have done it without you. We also, Jerry and I, would not have pursued this legislation without the support of Council and its President, Micah Gursky. I know it has been an incredible amount of work for Micah and the borough, but I really believe that our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren will look back at this effort decades from now and say, thank God that Micah and the borough were willing to take a chance on a CRIS. Micah, what am I forgetting at this point?
Say more nice things about me.
Please, when the folks from council are knocking on your door, fill out those forms, because without that data, this project doesn't happen. And they have how long to do this?
If you're in the CRIS now, you have to file with your PA taxes online. There's a separate CRIS form that you fill out online.
Okay. We really, really, really need you to do that.
If they don't know how much taxes you pay, we can't get the money back.
Okay, I got it. Now I'd like to invite Jarrett Laubach, the leasing manager for the City Center, Lehigh Valley, to give you some more details on the possibilities of job expansion and community revitalization in a CRIS or in his. While Jarrett's coming up, I will encourage all of you that if you have not visited Allentown lately, you need to take a drive. Because of this program, they have more people working and visiting in downtown Allentown than they've seen in 40 years. I've told Senator Brown, who invented this idea, that I had not seen that kind of a change in a community since I got to see Berlin after the wall came down. That's the power of this new law in Pennsylvania. Welcome, Jared, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you, Senator. Also would like to thank Christine Verdier and Matt from Senator Brown's office. Thank you. Thank Christine again. So I wanted to give you an oversight, an understanding of neighborhood improvement zone legislation, where Allentown's been, where it's going. A lot of this stuff, well, we don't count on the media to tell our story. We like to tell it directly to professionals like you. As the Senator said, my name is Jared Laubach. I've been in the City Center for a little over a year. I've been 10 years of commercial and industrial real estate experience, and it's an exciting time to be in Allentown. I'd like to point to this image, because this is when I say Allentown, the new Allentown took its first breath. That's September 12th, the Eagles concert. And 11,000 people were reintroduced to Allentown that day who really hadn't had, candidly, a good reason to come to Allentown in the decades before. this development, the arena, and the company I work for, City Center Investment Corporation, we wouldn't be building buildings without this legislation. It's very rich. And everybody knows Allentown, largest city in the Lehigh Valley. And the Lehigh Valley has been a benefactor of a lot of economic development growth, rampant economic development growth throughout the past few decades. That's been largely relegated to the suburbs. So while we've experienced tremendous office job growth, distribution, manufacturing in the suburbs, Allentown, the largest city, and the third largest MSA, the third largest area throughout Pennsylvania, the Lehigh Valley, has been experiencing decline and deterioration of its urban core. The neighborhood improvement zone is a geography of 130 acres. It's split over 2 areas in the city of Allentown. There's many acres available upon a navigable stretch of the Lehigh River. Nice water feature. Was formerly an industrial area that relied on the river for the industrial process. City Center, Lehigh Valley, the development group I'm with, our focus is Allentown's urban core. Really what got that jumping is the arena. Has anybody been to the arena? A few of you. Hockey game? Yeah. So simply, we could talk about the NIS for an hour. Mike could talk about it for an hour and a half, potentially. But really, the NIS is a robust legislation introduced in 2009, revised twice, passed in 2012. In simplifying it, the Act dictates that any state and local tax revenues generated by new and existing businesses within geography can be used to pay down the debts on bonds and loans that are issued for qualifying development. How do we see it? We see it, our tenants that are occupying the buildings we're building, their taxes we look at as rent. If you're a tenant of ours, you continue to pay taxes to the city of Harrisburg like you would anywhere throughout the Commonwealth. If you're a tenant of ours, and if you're a tenant, candidly, if you're a tenant anywhere throughout the NIS, in one of our new projects or a historically significant project that's not new, your business needs to, it's legally obligated to fill out a form, basically pledging what you paid in taxes. That's probably the best description of it. This is what I paid. The NISDA, the Development Authority, overseeing the way the NIS money moves throughout the process, verifies that. And what happens is those Harrisburg then releases a percentage of those taxes to a qualified developer like ourselves at the end of the year. So that money goes to pay down, or a percentage of that money goes to pay down our debt service. If we're paying down our buildings more quickly and getting this additional rent, well, then we offer office rents, retail rents, restaurant rents for significantly reduced costs. So that's helped us become more attractive to companies outside of the Lehigh Valley and the companies outside of the NIS. So the legislation is robust, it's powerful. I work for some driven people, for some smart people. And those smart people connected with Senator Pat Brown, who's the architect of the NIS, and said, okay, if we really want to create, we're part real estate developers, we're part economic developers. How do we get that economic developer part down? Well, we follow this cliche live, work, play model. followed it because it works, when done well in different markets. The work component, which is the real engine for this legislation, has been, well, we began that early and often. The other two components we're filling in. So let's just back up a minute. The arena, which I specified before, we don't own, that's the arena block. And that's only about 4 years ago. After legislation was approved, it's a pit in the ground. And then in spring of 2014, the arena block, which is really a 1 million square foot superstructure. And what you see in that image are two professional buildings flanking the arena. So you have the arena entrance. On the left is one city center, which is a 200,000 square foot building tied to the arena, so we have a condominium ownership interest in it. That's occupied by the Lehigh Valley Health Network. The building to the right, we built speculatively. The company I worked for built speculatively. We knew to really recreate this urban core that's been long gone 30 years ago, you needed to have a full-service hotel so a business traveler would recognize the name, feel comfortable, and it was, we kind of took the approach, build it, they will come. We were fortunate to secure a Renaissance brand hotel, which is one of Marriott's flagships. That opened in January, and we've been averaging 90% occupancy of that hotel. We kind of know what we don't know. We don't know how to run a hotel. So we hired a management company to run it, and well, we've been fortunate with occupancy. Across the street, on the northeast corner, old bank building, functionally obsolete. It's a good building, has some good architectural features, maybe some that weren't so forgiving over time. That was going to be the site of two city center, and in 18 months, we built a 300,000 square foot building. That's the building that National Penn Bank occupies the majority of. Today, the building's full. We leased every bit of retail space available on the ground floor. We're building buildings that are Class A buildings, buildings that formerly weren't seen in the Lehigh Valley. They weren't Lehigh Valley's interpretation of Class A, they were just Class A. As a character line of these Class A buildings, we have retail on the ground floor, professional office above, and there's some amount of parking below. We're looking at every block and seeing how we can create this continuous, consistent development. How do you drive people out of the buildings and on the street? How do you re-engage that employment core, which we currently have at 12,000 people? How do we engage these 12,000 people that are working downtown with the retailers? And it takes some marketing and some psychology to pull them out of the building, not to microwave their lunch, maybe just kind of go for a walk to the post office. This is the subject of a lot of our conversations. This is the building we received a certificate of occupancy on last week. It's Free City Center. It's about 50% full, 2/3 the size of the building we were just looking at. And we have its, what we found is we've been fortunate to be in a position where we're not leasing space out like a commodity. Our rents are good, but people want to be downtown because they're thrilled about this urban environment. We're hopeful to make a few more announcements in the next 3 months. We can say the building's full. We're not there yet. So as the development company I'm associated with, we're for-profit, private enterprise, and we've been land heavy in anticipation that this legislation would be passed. We're in a position to build 3 more buildings, ranging from 200,000 square feet to 300,000 square feet. And the focus of our marketing efforts have been out of state. And we'll be glad to talk to anybody. But there's such a rich opportunity here for folks maybe just on the other side of the Delaware to look at the Lehigh Valley as a cost-effective solution to an otherwise expensive business environment outside of the state. These are renderings of the next 3 buildings we'll build. 5 City Center. Hopefully take that out of the ground and deliver that within the next 2.5 years. That's predicated, like in the conventional development world, on securing that large tenant to pull the building out of the ground. So we've shifted here from office development to placemaking. So that first slide, who wasn't thrilled to see a concept? This slide, half as many people downtown, below 30 degrees, New Year's Eve, 11 o'clock at night. Hot chocolate, that might have been it. Not a lot of programming. Fake ice skating rink, which is semi-appealing. But these were just people who wanted to see what was going on downtown. There's a Liberty Bell drop, and it's pretty gratifying to see folks just wanting to be downtown again. It's been 32 years. So we're going to continue our efforts. We're going to look beyond the office tenants we're securing. The office tenants that we're partnering with, these are companies, and they've got a lot of things on their minds. They're not coming downtown for inexpensive rent, because the rent's not that inexpensive, particularly when you look at the satisfaction of your employees and your payroll. These are companies that have been trying to recruit and retain millennials. Millennials want to live in cities. We're trying to provide some semblance of that in downtown Allentown. It's largely has to do with succession planning. Air Products had enough space on the mothership. They didn't need to be in downtown Allentown. These are companies who are on the move, moving forward. They're hiring, and you really see keeping the students that are in the Northeast, not losing, or Eastern Pennsylvania, not losing them to DC, New York City, other developed urban areas. Restaurants and retailers are taking notice. There's people on the street. We've secured 9 restaurants in 2014, 4 more coming out of the ground in 2015. They're doing very well. But the most challenging thing has been the retail. So retailers make decisions on demographics that are largely 2 to 5 years old. We just opened up the new downtown Allentown last May, so it hasn't been a year. In Starbucks, you can get that pretty much anywhere. It was a big win for us. It legitimized the downtown environment, and it helped us secure other additional retailers, so that felt good. These are all coming online in August. As it might pertain to the broad development you're in search of, it's also given us the ability to take a good stock, or to take stock of historically significant buildings in our downtown, to renovate them, to lease them out to tenants, sometimes just to put a new facade on them, and sell them to retailers and restaurants and other developers who want to get a piece of the new development in downtown Allentown. So I think that might be particularly interesting to a lot of the folks who are in that CRIS status because of our historic lineage of many of these neighborhoods and cities and boroughs in Pennsylvania. We're also making a major investment in the way people kind of communicate, move around urban areas. So Main Street, they're great for shops. But this is an urban core. We didn't want any alley to appear scary or ominous. So we're making a fair amount of investment in hardscaping materials. We have a landscape architect looking at reprogramming the way these buildings communicate, where our retailers are located. And this is the Arts Walk. So while it's a rendering, it's actually There's an existing walk between downtown Art Museum and what was the employment core that disappeared a long time ago. We've returned the employment core. The Arts District is super happy about it. I think it's good for giving. And this will be delivered, this image will be delivered in August 1 of this year. Lastly, when we look at economic development, it begins with economic development, it leads to community development. Things that aren't fully formed yet. There's a robust housing initiative. Think on the order of UPenn and Johns Hopkins. We've looked at who does it well, who didn't do it so well. That's coming around the corner. The turnaround housing stock that's been actually quality stock, sometimes illegally converted into apartments, to bring it back for first-time homeowners with forgivable loans. First-time homeowners in downtown Allentown. We have conventional residential development. So making your commitment to work down in a kind of an untested environment like downtown Allentown is one thing. But really calling it home without any subsidy of any variety, these are just market rate apartments, I think takes an extended commitment. What I didn't know about residential real estate is it's hard to build apartment buildings because the pre-leasing requirement the banks bind you to, well, people don't pre-lease apartments. If you want an apartment, you want to walk in the door, you want to look around, you're going to make a decision, and you want to be in from next week to 3 months from now. In spite of all that, we've leased out 40 apartments of the 170. These are 100, these are, I don't know, 1150 to 1,500 square feet apartments. Retail and restaurant on the ground floor. This won't be delivered until the summertime, so our expectations were really surpassed. We weren't anticipating any incentive like this impacting the office market, the retail market, impacting residential, but it's here. I think it's only going to increase. So I live in the Lehigh Valley, and I live in this world often. But stepping outside of Pennsylvania, this is a big project. The power of the neighborhood improvement zone has been, well, it was untested until we began developing it. And while the CRIZ is kind of the NIS light, I think we need to keep in the context the shape Allentown was in. 120,000 people, if not more. Poverty. Really, it was a municipality in a state of disrepair. The benefit of the neighborhood improvement zone, the immediate benefit of the neighborhood improvement zone, as it relates to the quality of life for the people in Allentown and the education in Allentown, is that this project was reassessed, these buildings were reassessed, and we added tens of millions of dollars of taxes back into the city immediately, back into the struggling school district, and really got those dollars to those essential city departments. I didn't plan on answering any questions, but I'd be glad to. Yes?
What's the life cycle of the
This is a 30-year legislation. Technically, the legislation could disappear tomorrow. Policies change. Our banks bound us to an impairment clause, so if you're one of our tenants and you're somewhere throughout your base term of your lease, and that NIS drops away, our tenants are protected, it's effectively grandfathered. But yes, that's how long the legislation is written for.
is that a risk that the developer takes?
I think it's a risk only to the extent that it negatively impacts the bank, our mortgage holder, but they protected themselves because I don't think anybody would have loaned money on a project like this if the rug would be pulled out from underneath them.
And
as successful as it is, I cannot imagine any House, any Senate, any governor who would be crazy enough to want to repeal this. Because I don't know about all of you, but as I'm watching this presentation, I kept thinking of two things. One, none of this would have happened without the law. And two is, if we could just get 2% of that, or 3%, or 4%. I keep telling every businessman that I know, if you have a project, go see Micah. Or
Thank
Kevin,
you.
right? There we go.
Dave, I have two questions, and I think I know the answers. But thank you for the presentation. Two questions. I think I know the answer to both of them. One is the city center of Lehigh Valley, are they locally promoted developers? So from the Lehigh Valley, you go to the Lehigh Valley, people from the Lehigh Valley. And two, are you making money?
So,
He's not even a lawyer. I always thought that lawyers never ask questions if they don't know the answer. Is that true? There we go, okay.
they are local. Two partners in the company are J.B. Riley and Joe Topper. I suspect they're making money, or I don't think they would continue to reinvest in a project that wasn't making them money. And they have real estate backgrounds each, so they're entirely local to the Lehigh Valley.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Mr. President, we're all yours. Here we go.
Thank you. Okay, so we heard a little bit about business development. The Tamaqua Chamber of Commerce is obviously concerned about that. Business affects our community. If we don't have businesses, we don't have jobs. So we're really concerned about development in the community with businesses, but that's not what makes a community by itself. What makes a community is people who sacrifice their free time, people who go the extra mile to do things for one another without anything in return. That's what makes this next phase of our meeting tonight so wonderful, to be able to present to you the Citizenship Award, the 52nd annual, by the way. In recognition of past citizenship awards, I would ask everybody, if you have received a citizenship award, would you please stand now so we could recognize you? I know there's a couple more out there. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the other part of the formula. We just can't have one side of a community. We've got to have a community that's got multiple parts of it. And there's somebody that, some people might say, well, how do you pick them? How do you know? And some people might say, well, we don't understand how you pick the recipient. We didn't hear about that person. They aren't a big business person in the community. They aren't this or that. They don't have anything that we recognize that would say we need to honor them. But it is sometimes the secret agents in our community that we would like to recognize. And with that, I would like to today honor Amanda Woodring as the 2015 Joseph M. Pasco Citizenship Award recipient. Amanda, this doesn't always happen, but you had more than one recommendation. So we wanted to thank you so much for your hard work, and it's behind the scenes things, it's not for recognition, we know that. We want to just encourage these kind of activities in our community. Thank you very much. With that, I would also like to ask Senator Dave Arnold. And I don't know if you guys want to tag team, you're going to do independence.
Do them together.
Tag team, not right, I figured that. They make it interesting. And also Representative Jerry Knowles, they have awards for you as well. Okay? And flip the coin. The
Senator said that they've heard enough from me. Other than me once in a while. Now, congratulations, Amanda. It is an honor and privilege as a past recipient of the Citizen of the Year to present you with this citation from the House of Representatives. In a time when we so often hear about young people that aren't so good, it is refreshing to see and hear the things you can do for our community. And you are a good reflection of the many young people that we have here in the Tamaqua area. So I congratulate you on the Citizen of the Year. It is something that you will long remember, and the longer time goes on, the more you will appreciate. So thank you for all the good things you've done for our community, and congratulations.
And I've been coming to these since the early 1980s when they gave one to my next door neighbor, Bill Moser. And so you're in very distinguished company. Old Boy Scout leaders, Donnie, we've been here for some of those. But this is truly an award that is very well deserved. And I know that for everything that you've done, for my niece Logan and all the Logans, congratulations and keep up the good work.
Hi, everybody. You're probably going to hear me cry. I'm sorry. I just can't believe this. You have no idea. I have this speech right here, but there's no way I'm going to even be able to read it, so I'm just going to forget it. About 6 years ago, I had a little girl in class, and I didn't know what was going on at home. And for some reason, I'm not quite sure why, I ended up at the house. And the grandmother was raising 3 kids. She was the oldest. And she had a little box of tiny wreaths, and that's what she was going to decorate for Christmas. I knew then that something had to be done. Little boys and girls shouldn't go without Christmas. So that year, I had my 2 little girls out to go spoil them. I wanted to fill my house with presents, and then I realized that there were little boys and girls waking up with nothing. So I started making some phone calls to friends, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce and the Spirit of Christmas Festival downtown. Along with local farmers, we're able to provide families with trees every year and decorations through faculty, staff, and administration at Tamaqua School District. Not only that, we started with 2 families that year, and this past Christmas, we were able to provide 12 families with Christmas, along with other families receiving Christmas trees. I never did this for any of this. I just did it because I know growing up, I always had a Christmas. We weren't rich by any means, but my parents always gave us a Christmas at home. And that's something that I'm very thankful for. And I just want to make sure that all boys and girls have that. So I encourage all of you just to find a passion, whether it be big or small, because this is just really small to me, but obviously bigger to others. And lend a hand, lend your heart, lend an ear, do something, and just make it great bit by bit. Thank you again. This is truly
This year, we also decided to add a new recipient to the award because, like I said, the Chamber is interested in both sides. We want to be able to help businesses, and we also want to be able to recognize and encourage our community activities and growth. And so part of that we thought, well, gee, we've got someone who is a volunteer, who doesn't get paid for what they do, and we're honoring them. What if we pick someone who's in business and honored someone who's in business? And so this year is the first year that we're going to be doing this, and we sat down, and I'm not allowed to vote, okay? But when I had to oversee what's happening, and I saw the list of names for this reward, and I saw someone was mentioned in there twice, and even without being mentioned twice, I looked and I said, this is a no-brainer, and I didn't say it out loud, but in my mind, I'm thinking, this is a no-brainer. This should be an easy one, and honestly, it really was easy to be able to pick Lynn Elko as our Business Person of the Year award. Yes. So if you're not aware of Lynn's history, she actually talked to her husband. She actually started in her kitchen. Then from her kitchen went to her basement. And I remember, yes, I was in her basement. And my business started in a basement too. So that's why when I hear stuff like this, I'm like, this is what America, this is a part of America that I absolutely love. That you can take something like this and make it grow. And not only is it a business that's grown, but it's a business that has a specialty with people with special needs. And it's just wonderful to see someone who's doing that. And now, she's now in downtown, I'm not Allentown. Yeah, not yet, but she's planning on going to Diz instead of Chris. We have to change that program. So yeah, in downtown Tamaqua, she's moved down there, and from what I understand, it's been really successful too. So thank you so much, and you have the mic. I'm done.
Thank you. This is a tremendous honor, and I know that there are a number of businesses. Is it hard enough?
Yeah,
I'm not very good with microphones. So I'm good with. There are so many businesses in our community that are worthy of this award, and so it's a tremendous honor to be the recipient of it. So thank you so much for recognizing me and for our small business. And I have to tell you that the first time I came to the Chamber of Commerce in Tamaqua, we looked a little bit like hobos, my husband and I. I'm pretty sure, right, Linda? When you saw us, we were ready to move out of the basement, and we went downtown to see what was available and walked the downtown. It was February, which is usually when people walk in downtown, I think, and saw that the corner at 101 was available and other spaces as well. And believe it or not, when we started in my kitchen, that was actually our objective, was to get to the Flatiron building.
Wow.
I just driving through town, it was so beautiful, and I thought, oh, if only we could grow into that. And I went there and found out how much the rent was and said, thank you very much. I'm going back to my kitchen. But when it came time to move out and it was available, Linda, we entered the Chamber of Commerce, and she was so gracious and welcoming and kind and excited for us. And I was a little embarrassed because we're just a soap company. I thought, how excited would the Chamber of Commerce be? But she was just bubbling with enthusiasm and sent us down to the Millers, and they let us in. And so we're squatting, we're staying. It's a beautiful building. We're so thankful to have a beautiful building, and we're just so thankful of the support of the community and the business owners in town. I see a lot of our customers' faces in the audience, and so I'm thankful that you've picked up our little mantle and carried it forward and shared it with others, and have been enjoying not only our products but our mission. And if I could just take a minute to thank a couple of people. First of all, my husband, who is also my business advisor, who's in the back and hanging out with our beautiful daughter, who is the inspiration behind our business. He's not only patient and long-suffering, but strong, which I appreciate because we go out and do shows and he moves all of our stuff around. He's been a wonderful business counselor, even though I don't always listen the first or second time that he tells me something. But I'm so thankful for you and for Emma, who has taught us that perseverance and hard work really do yield tremendous results. She has been a wonderful example of that in our lives. And then Sandy and Nakia, who are the faces that you'll see when you come into our store. They're always there with a smile and always willing to try any crazy task I present for them. And so I'm thankful that you are the face for our store. And our newest member, Penny Gursky, who's going to be cracking the whip on us as we work on improving our process and our customer service so that we can continue to grow. So thank you again, and also to you, Ms. Amanda. We are so grateful to receive this in your presence, because Amanda has also been a teacher to our daughter Emma as a special education teacher. So this is really a beautiful full circle this year for us. So thank you all very much.
Oh, they do?
Yes, they do.
Oh, they do, okay, all right. Sorry. I also failed to mention about the opportunity to win the lottery tickets in the back. There's $50 worth, $5, gets you 3 tickets, chance to win. So you want to get those before we do the raffle at the end of the night, and you got the opportunity to win them. So with that, sorry, to do a commercial. Yeah, it is over. Yeah, it's over.
Thank you very much. One of the things that I will say is that any of you who know me well know that I've had a very interesting career. I've had 7 different jobs, you know. But one of the ventures that I entered into was with my wife, and by the way, Donna Woodard worked with us, and she was a great employee. Her and my wife were always conspiring against me, but she was a great employee. But what I will tell you is, for 10 years, we ran a small business. And I gotta tell you, that was tough. It was tough in those days. For 10 years, we worked 6 days a week, and then on Sunday we would clean and we would do the books. And it was the most grueling experience of my life. And I will tell you that one of the happiest days of my life was the day that we bought the store. The second happiest day of my life was the day that we sold the store. And my point is that small business, big business is such a difficult challenge, and I congratulate all of you who are in a small business. Everything that you earn, everything that you make, you deserve. Because believe me, people only see you when you're dropping off the deposit at the bank, but they don't see you when you're working day in and day out. So I want to congratulate you, Lynn, because you're doing quite well. You know, I kind of got to be honest with you, the first time I got sober. I'm an Iron Man, right? Yeah, you can change that. But no, it's a very interesting place, and I commend you. You certainly are a shining light in downtown Tamaqua. And again, Lorraine and I will both attest to the fact that it doesn't come easy. So, and I think it's a great idea, by the way, that you guys did this year. This is a great idea. I congratulate all of you, and I congratulate you.
And I'm not just your senator, I'm a customer. One day, as I noticed weird things are happening to my skin as I get older, and I was complaining about it one day, and of course my wife says, well, you need to go downtown to the soap store. And I have, again and again and again, so your stuff is now all over my house. And so I'm doing what I can to keep you in business, and it's a good thing, because it is, I'm a much happier person. I will also say that, I'm not scratching so much, but it's probably more than you all wanted to know, right? It's face soap, okay? So just stop right there. But the other thing that I should note was 20 years ago when Tamaqua was beginning its revitalization strategies. Doc Geiger, one of the very first founders of the 2004 partnership, said, you know, we are not going to be making any progress in this community until I can drive to the 5 Points and see something better than that cruddy old building. Well, that building you're in now is not only filled with new jobs, it's one of the highlights of the community. Thank you for helping to keep the lights on there as well.
are ready for this. Last chance, last chance. Somebody donated tickets to me?
No. Somebody left their tickets on the bar. So is there anybody who is missing their tickets? Over here. Okay, Kim, it's Kim. Okay, Kim.
Everybody needs Kim.
Drink.
Well, again, I'd like to thank all of you for coming out tonight and joining us, and I hope you learned a little bit more about what the Chamber does. I hope you got to see some opportunities. If you're new to business, a possibility, or maybe you want to grow your business, there's some opportunities for you there. And I also hope that you got a little bit closer to our quaint little town. So with that, we're going to... Yes, okay. All right, that sounds good. We're going to have... What's that?
Drum roll.
I'm sorry. You can just say.
Oh, 086229. 229, last three digits? 229, last three digits. They're not here? Okay, you want to come pick another one? Last three digits are 215. 215. Oh, there. Just a reminder about the progress books that are on your table. In addition to all the ads that are inside, for which we're grateful, these are great marketing tools for you to use for investors, for other business owners or new business owners, and also your friends and family. When they ask you what the heck is going on in Tamaqua, or there is nothing going on or to do in Tamaqua, whip this baby out and show them, because there is an awful lot going on in Tamaqua, whether it's arts and entertainment or business-wise. So please take these with you. Use them as a marketing tool and informational tool for, whatever purpose. But if you need more, call the Chamber office. We'll be glad to get you more. And thank you to all of our advertisers who made this possible so that we can market and promote our community to all our friends and investors. That's it.
Thank you very much.